Hey folks, Jordan with TYT Politics on Long Island today, celebrating Passover. Hello to my fellow Jews. I am at my parents' house and a little distraught because apparently Ivanka Trump is now setting the foreign policy in the United States of America. That would be the daughter of Donald Trump, who has a Bloomingdale's line, I believe, Nordstrom's, a lot of charities. Seems like a lovely, lovely young lady. A little spoiled, which is, kind of par for the course coming from that kind of family. But we already knew President Trump has zero foreign policy experience or chops. He's kind of willy-nilly trying to show strength and bomb the shit out of them and yada, yada, yada. We know he surrounded himself with neocons and warmongers like General Mattis, now McMaster's, previously Michael Flynn. But now word comes out that apparently the Syria strike, President Trump was swayed because Ivanka was, quote, heartbroken. This is not the Onion. This is not the Onion, folks. So, Donald Trump's decision to bomb Syria was influenced by his daughter Ivanka, being, quote, heartbroken and outraged at the country's alleged chemical weapons attacks, one of the president's sons told a British newspaper. The president launched 59 cruise missiles at a Syrian government airbase he alleged was involved in a chemical weapons attack that killed dozens of civilians last week. Trump's 33-year-old son told the Daily Telegraph on Monday that the strike was influenced in part by Ivanka, who he said was, quote, heartbroken and outraged by the chemical attack. Ivanka is a mother of three kids, and she has influence, Eric Trump said, speaking with the newspaper at Trump Turnberry Golf Resort in Ayrshire, Scotland. I'm sure she said, listen, this is horrible stuff. My father will act in times like that. Trump himself was deeply affected by the pictures of children being, quote, sprayed down by hoses to keep their skin from burning, according to his son. It was horrible. These guys are savages, and I'm glad he responded the way he responded. He described the president as a, quote, great thinker, practical, not impulsive, and added, I'm proud he took action, and believe me, he thinks things through. Listen, I want to make something very clear, which I think I've made clear in other videos. I am a human as well, so I am very, very concerned and would like to take action to help Syrians who are being chemically gassed. Of course, it's not a bad... You cannot want war and the United States to start a war and, at the same time, be in favor of helping innocent Syrian civilians. But the fact of the matter is, Donald Trump is the commander-in-chief, whether we like it or not. And he cannot make decisions that could get our soldiers, remember, only 1% of the United States actually puts their bodies on the line in these wars. And we always say, yeah, cheer on the troops, but then we don't help them get jobs, help them with their actual mental health, the suicide epidemic with veterans. So by going and doing these strikes, North Korea might be next, you're right, we are launching the first strike in a potential war, because it's usually not slam bam, thank you ma'am. We just bomb the hell out of a Syrian airfield, ruffle Syria's feathers. Obviously, we're ruffling Russia's feathers. Russia has now asked for an investigation into the chemical gases that were released. But the President of the United States should be making decisions on war and peace based on incontrovertible evidence that the United States is under imminent threat of an attack. That is the standard for launching military strikes, in addition to getting permission from Congress, which is the law, but we haven't followed that in approximately 20 years. But the fact of the matter is, we cannot have the commander-in-chief, who, by the way, has his finger on the nuclear button, being making decisions based on his daughter or him being, quote, heartbroken and outraged. Or the fact that his daughter has 3 children and she has influence. Well, let me ask you a question, Ivanka Trump and President Trump. What about the images in Standing Rock, North Dakota last year? I didn't hear either of you speaking out about innocent people getting tear gas in their face. I didn't hear anything about freezing water being shot on unarmed people. When it was for big oil, those hippie protesters. I often have not heard from Donald Trump or Ivanka Trump about innocent, unarmed African Americans being shot and killed all over the United States of America. Have you? I don't hear anything from Ivanka Trump or President Trump about half the country being poor and starving, and we need to immediately send in the National Guard and the U.S. Marshals to help these people. Do you? So I get it. We're all human, and when you see awful, awful pictures of innocent people being gassed, possibly by their government, I don't think there's direct evidence yet that it was Assad. I'm leaning towards that, but there's not direct evidence. So you can't make decisions that it's not just Syria. Syria's closest ally is Russia, a nuclear power that most objective military experts will say tensions between Russia and the United States are worse than they were during the Cold War. So you're not only starting with Syria, you're starting with Russia. And part of the problem with our foreign policy, besides it mostly being about making defense contractors and oil companies money, is we do these things without thinking, well, what comes next? Okay, so number one, we're going to remove Assad and we're going to put in jihadist rebels to be the next Assad. What comes next after we bomb Syria? And by the way, I just want to get this out there. So the corporate media propaganda machine that's been calling Trump a puppet, well, they're coming out right now against Russia. Rex Tillerson said Russia needs to act. I'm not defending Trump at all, but I'm just pointing out these same corporate puppets, on and on and on, they've gone for 6 months without concrete proof that Trump is colluding and all this. Seems a little strange. But I got to tell you, when I see that Donald Trump was swayed by Ivanka Trump being heartbroken to release 59 Tomahawk missiles, what's next? A former apprentice contestant is going to come into the Oval Office and say, you know, Donald, hey, we really should just go into Saudi Arabia and take all that oil. You know, I'm heartbroken. Take the oil. And by the way, I'd be saying the same exact thing if it was Chelsea Clinton in the White House, if it was Maya Obama. Cannot be swayed because your emotional heartstrings are being tugged. You need to make decisions based on intelligence, concrete evidence. It's very concerning. Very concerning. Because also what this tells you, and we saw this in the campaign, by the way. I was covering the campaign. I covered many, many Trump rallies. And Ivanka Trump did have a very big influence on then candidate Trump in terms of him toning down his language, being on a teleprompter, this and that. So if Ivanka Trump is literally has a seat at the table on decisions of war and peace, that is not a good thing. That is not a good thing. And it does not bode well for other foreign policy decisions like Iraq, Afghanistan, Yemen. People are starving in Yemen. We'll stay on this. My colleague Michael Tracy has been doing a lot of work and videos on the Syria situation. Love Michael. Don't necessarily agree with him on everything, particularly that Bernie Sanders has not come out against the strike, but we could agree to disagree. That makes us friends and colleagues. But we're going to stay on this because the corporate media, they just want a war. So they're just covering this into the ground, and you got Brian Williams talking about beautiful airstrikes, and Fareed Zakaria on CNN saying Trump should be saluted, and yada, yada, yada. Yeah. Thanks for watching. I'm at Jordan Chariton, JordanChariton, and I'll be live again at some point today.